I don't know why it's FCCPC that will be demanding the registration. And money is involved here. They have to pay ₦1 million to register with FCCPC. And I think that these are fintechs that are supposed to be CBN regulated, I guess, and these people are not big players in the industries. They are just small players. You are putting a registration fee of 1 million, and they may not have that kind of capacity. This is a problem I feel that we need to deal with, because on the one hand, you are seeking to protect consumers. You are seeking to say, okay, you want fair competition. But on the other hand,
this is Souq business landscape. FCCPC, now they are beginning sanctions against non-compliant digital lending operators nationwide. As the Federal Competition and Consumer Protection Commission has commenced phased enforcement against digital money lending operators that failed to regularize their operations under the Digital, Electronic, Online and Non-Traditional Consumer Lending Regulations 2025. Now, the Commission said affected lenders missed mandatory compliance requirements governing registration, disclosure standards, consumer protection rules, and operational conduct across Nigeria's rapidly expanding digital credit space. The compliance deadline for affected operators expired on Monday, January 5th, that's this year, 2026. In a statement issued on Wednesday, FCCPC said the phased sanctions will be applied progressively, allowing regulators to distinguish between partial compliance, ongoing remediation efforts, and outright non-compliance within the sector. According to FCCPC Director of Corporate Affairs, Ondaje Ijagu, the enforcement drive aims to restore regulatory continuity, protect consumers, and rebuild confidence in Nigeria's fast-growing digital lending market, while signaling that unlicensed or abusive lending practices will no longer be tolerated by authorities under the new regime. We have this particular issue that cut across the country. Banks find it difficult to lend without collateral because of the risk percentage, the high risk percentage, and the high failure for monies that have been out there. This particular space was filled a bit by microfinance banks. Them now had lenders come in, and a lot of them were licensed. But right now, we've still had issues with registered operators, non-registered operators, and with advent of phone apps and easy internet apps, it makes it easy for people to just wake up one day and become lenders. Now we are having FCCPC saying, okay, good and fine. We've been doing regulation before, but hey, they were giving 5th of January to every one of them to regularize their registration. Yet some have not still done that. Is it a case of business not wanting to be registered, or a case of people not just being honest with what we're doing?
Well, I think there are two basic issues here that needs to be clarified. I don't know why it's FCCPC that will be demanding the registration. And money is involved here. They have to pay ₦1 million to register with FCCPC. And I think that these are fintechs that are supposed to be CBN regulated, I guess, and these people are not big players in the industries. They are just small players. You are putting a registration fee of 1 million, and they may not have that kind of capacity. This is a problem I feel that we need to deal with, because on the one hand, you are seeking to protect consumers. You are seeking to say, okay, you want fair competition. But on the other hand, you see, when two friends are inside the room and they are eating, they don't fight. Mm-hmm. It's when things go wrong that they cry outside. There's nothing on that regulation that is protecting the lender themselves, even if they are registered. You are saying, okay, because of data privacy, don't broadcast people's name for not paying. But what security and guarantee do you have in place to protect the man who is giving somebody money and then the other party is not willing to pay back? Because I don't think it's everybody who borrow money that they broadcast. It's those who fail after a certain period that are put in place that are not paying back that are the issues. So what is in that regulation that tells this digital lender that yes, come and register, because if you lend money to people and they are not paying back, this is what FCCPC will do to help you recover
Your funds.
your fund. That is not in place. So they also need to balance this argument that between what you want to do for the customer, because somehow the lender too is the customer of government, for especially those who are registered. So I think there must be a mechanism that is in place to protect both businesses, because you can ask one man to say, oh, if you don't do this, you get punished this way. That's one side. But on this other side, I also feel that the registration fee, there are some of these people may not be as big as we look at it. And slamming a 1 million registration fee, an extra 500 fee on an app, extra app, will, of course, could also mean some danger for the businesses, because it's a very high risk area. Because most of the people who take this loan, being we who we are, whether it is the credit, some people buy the credit and then they throw the SIM away and go and buy a new SIM. That's permanent loss. So the risk is high. So is there anything that we're also putting in place to ensure that the risk is not high, or we are only interested in the registration fee? So these are questions we should ask. So if we are saying we are creating an environment, and especially in a situation where the president is saying that he doesn't want to tax seed, he wants to tax fruits, then I think we can lower the guards, just like what it costs to register for a CAC, and ensure that they have enough fund to be able to lend within the capacity they want to operate, and not necessarily slamming a 1 million naira registration fee on a business that may not have capital itself.
Okay. You brought up the issue of the cost of registration, and you also brought up the very cogent one, because for them to operate, which means they are registered with CS in the first place.
Yeah.
So there's a registration that has happened already. Okay, now, the night, let me come to you. Looking at this registration that FCCPC is talking about, definitely there are some of the organizations that we know very well, they are not registered.
True.
They still operate. And they are not operating like cooperatives or the personal estate kind of cooperative. What will you advise FCCPC to do? If they want to operate like a neighborhood watch, can they operate? Or they must all be registered? The registration should be compulsory.
I think the registration should be compulsory to track them down, because when the FCC came up with started going after digital lenders, if you notice, they were doing a lot of raiding and they were posting on their social media. Much of these digital lenders were situated around that Ikeja axis, and they were going there, sealing down their offices and all that. I think then there was this, what do you call it? They clamped down some of the apps via the application portal and all that. And so what happened was some of these apps started going down, some of these apps. Then they also put on their social medias that if you have any problem and all that, you can always reach out to them. So I think these are some of the things that they have been trying to do, and they should also continue to do. Doctor also made mention of how to protect them. I know CBN has this policy called the GSI, this global system recovery, whereby if you are owing, the Central Bank of Nigeria can give your current bank an instruction to deduct that particular amount that you are owing, and it to be deducted. It's all accounts linked to your BVN they would deduct that amount. That's one policy that is in place, and it's working. It might not be fully functional, not fully functional, but people might not have felt it, but it is actually working. So that also is a system that can actually protect some of these digital lenders. With the global, doctor is laughing, but it's true.
I'm laughing because I'm also looking at Olumide saying this because the people who are buying credits online for free or cashback transactions, they don't even have money in the bank in the first place. And that is the point I'm making. Because a lot of people who are patronizing this thing that is responsible for this bulk SMS are people who are on away, who take facility and they don't have any money anywhere. There's no way you can deduct. And so the only way to capture these people is to go after the people who know them. And that's why you see when they see this thing, they declare them as criminals. Because I have occasion where some people who went into this app to do borrowing, and they borrowed this money, and I was asking, what were you doing with the money? Because some people just think that this is the thing that you just take and you eat it and go away. So this is the problem that you find with some of these lenders. So it is not, there are people who are genuinely interested. Take for example, where you have a bank app that gives you advance. They can be monitored, they can be regulated. So when you go into those apps, you regulate them. I've even seen situations where people went to bank to actually borrow this money, and some people went even to the extent of changing their name to go open a different bank account in a different bank.
With the same BVN or another BVN?
Yeah, that was, yeah, of course, you see, this is the issue.
Same BVN.
Same BVN. And one day the bank wrote us a letter to tell us and said, this person, we see that he has changed identity, but he's working with you. And he's now using a different bank, but he's owing us and he refused to pay. So that criminality in the lending and borrowing ecosystem, I think is what we should address. You see, you can say, okay, where they have money, you can deduct it. But these guys are taking the money and they borrow from this app today, and then they throw the SIM away, buy a new SIM, borrow in another app. That's deliberate criminality.
But there's a credit cost system that some of these digital lenders use.
that they subscribe to.
Yes.
Also, there are issues we should also consider. People might borrow and not pay back, not because they don't want to pay back, which the
time frame
now comes in. How do they now negotiate their way to get more time to be able to pay gradually before they pay off whatever they owe? These are issues that we should also be talking about with this set of business. Yes, there's a strict regulation. Borrow, you pay at this time. When the person is not able to, how do they structure that particular loan so that the person can pay off?
Yeah, but the question is, it should be fair to these people. And we really need this balance. They call your numbers, and that line, you see that you are not picking the calls? They are sending you SMS, you are not responding. Some people, they will not open their phone until midnight, deliberately to avoid those calls. You see, when people are genuine in their intentions, they will put the cards on the table. Most of this loan that is responsible for what they call the data breach are the ones that are criminally intentioned. So if it is not about everybody, it's not about everybody. You go and check it. So if you have an agreement with somebody to say, okay, I'm owing you XYZ, and I was supposed to pay today, and then the person calls you, and he tells you, oh, this money is due, and say, oh, I don't have it today. Please, can you give me for that time? And this person say, oh, I am under pressure. Now, the problem is here that you have entered into this transaction. Now they are calling your telephone. Is either permanently switch off, or they call your phone, it rings out, you are not picking the call. Now, the person, on the other hand, is left with no other option to find other means, whether they are unconventional, to say how to get to you.
But is it right?
So, yeah, with the question of which comes first, whether it's the chick or the egg, is it right for you to borrow money and then your lender is looking for you and then you turn off? Is it right?
Both not right.
It's not right. So now, it's not both not right. Because the borrower has no right intention, the lender is forced to use unorthodox means to get at the man who borrowed your money. See, nobody prayed for his debtor to die. Because you want to recover your money. Because we must understand this reality. It's not just starting today. Now, if you know the piggy environment in our culture, you know these things have always been there. It's not today starting. It has always been there. I grew up in a community where you see people come into cooperative. People come into cooperative. And somebody perpetual debtor. And their name has become debtor that every time they take, they don't want to pay. So see that you have to exclude them from the system. But what we're seeing here is that because there are a lot of options, you borrow from this app, you block this, you go to a second app, you borrow, you block it, you go to a third app, you borrow, that's criminality. And then we must find a way to see these persons, how do we get this person? Even including, what do you call it? What do they call intelligence in criminal fighting? Is he not looking for unorthodox means to get to the criminal? This person is a criminal. So as long as it's a criminal, because you are taking somebody's money, I don't want to pay back. And then you are dodging and you are hiding. So any means that is available to be able to reach you, if it's to know people who are associated with you, it's also to let you know that. And I think this is what some of these things are actually up to say to people that, look, this person you are dealing with is not the kind of person you think he is. That everybody should even take precautionary steps not to deal with those people. So that if you have money, there are some other people today, and I say to people, say, oh, this person say, I want to borrow money. I say, please don't go and borrow because you will not recover it. Because to be forewarned is to be forearmed.
Okay. To FCCPC, thank you for doing your job. To the micro and digital lenders, also thank you very much. To everyone that is using that particular system, we say thank you to. But we want to see some stability. We want to see a bit of not just arbitration, but a bit of negotiation whereby whoever is owing can pay. And for the banks have less of this issue because you have more leeway to either get a collateral or get some bits of stability from either the person's account because you are the bigger bank. So we have and need this whole chain to work. So we almost play our part. We won't stop talking about it, and we'll continue making sure that both the FCCPC and the digital lending apps are in sync. For those not registered, please go ahead and register. And if it's possible to just make the CAC registration once and not just register here and register in the other place.
Yeah, I think this idea of taxing is have to stop. Every agency of government should not become a revenue center. And this is a very big problem because everybody is thinking, because you can't create business that is surviving, that you are imposing very huge fines on people to be able to register, and then you are killing initiative. So you should also understand that some of all these things, this app are created inside one room, and these people may not even have an office. So how do we also encourage that these people, because we're talking about coding, the app is coded, and that may not take too much money. May not take too much money, but the person you are asking to pay 1 million, you have to also assess that he has 1 million to pay. Because this guy is just entering into a business and he feels that if I create this app and I have something that I can lend out, people are doing business with me, I can get bigger. But we can also give room for small business to grow. And as they grow, they can become bigger agency. Because if they are making contribution to actually the drive for digital inclusion or financial inclusion. And I think government also have responsibility to also guide them. If registration is formal, to say, okay, you register with FCCPC with 10,000, 2,000, 30,000, that makes some sense. When, of course, you know that they are not standard bank and these things are done by one person really, they are not a system that you say you are looking for business structure, you want to know who are the people who are contributing money to do this business. And I think those, they must also have to do their own homework to be sure that this is not a corporate entity. Some of these things are woman business, so proprietorship. So you may not even say, okay, you have a board that is governing this thing. How many even big businesses have boards?